First off, tell us a little bit more about what Fans Supporting Foodbanks do, and within the community here, how this has been received, how long it's been set up.
So, Fans Supporting Foodbanks set up 6 years ago, obviously, to combat food poverty in our community. And what we've done over the 6 years is grow into a national network and evolve into, basically, we want to eradicate food poverty. It's a massive ambition, but that's what we were set up to do, and that's what we continue to try and stay in everything new to do. What we've got here today is what we feel is an evolution of food banks. We've got to get away with food banks, we've got to do away with them. So what we want is this mobile style pantry, which destigmatises food poverty, and people can come if they need assistance, if they're struggling, and they don't feel as though there's any shame, because unfortunately there's a narrative being built around people where if you're struggling you should be ashamed, and we want to absolutely demolish that. And what we've done today, we've been running this for over 6 months now. There's 4 across the city, we've got another 6 to 10 planned, so this is something that we're really keen to roll out, not just across Liverpool but across the whole country.
And the people here in the community, there's a lot of volunteers that are making this happen. Do you want to tell us a little bit about them and the time that they give up?
Yeah, what we're proud of is that we've actually got people who've come to the pantry because they need, and then seen the atmosphere around it, and now they've become volunteers into the pantry. There's about 3 or 4 out there that are in that position. Plus we've got people who've been members, supporters of Fans Supporting Foodbanks for a long time, and they just give up the time every day to come and assist and help run the pantries, because it's quite a big effort. You know, it's as I said, we've got some small pieces of kit here, and that's we feel is the future of what should be happening, and we want this to evolve into a community pantry, so it then becomes maybe a different style of going to a supermarket. You can come to your pantry, it's a market style pantry, so this for us is the future.
Just going back there, what we were saying about removing the food poverty, you've got the right for food in Parliament. Do you want to give us a little bit of an update on where that's at and what the hopes are for that?
Absolutely. So we've had a campaign running for 8 months now, which was to get the right to food into the National Food Strategy, which was published yesterday. It didn't go in by name, but the submission that we made has been adopted in some forms. So we've gone a small step along the way, but we haven't got a right to food into legislation yet, and that is the fundamental aim of the campaign. So the campaign has grown and grown right across the country, and it's going to continue to grow, it's going to continue to build, it's going to continue to put pressure on the decision makers, and we'll get there in the end. But yesterday was a good day. We got some elements of it in the National Food Strategy. I met Andy Dimbleby yesterday. We had a full and frank conversation. He knows that we'll support him to get elements of it, which we firmly believe in. However, the battle goes on and the fight goes on to eradicate food poverty in our communities.
Obviously this summer we've seen, the last year, Marcus Rashford heavily pushed this kind of thing. How has that helped what you're trying to do?
Marcus Rashford has been unbelievable. As somebody that's has utilised free school meals, who understands it, brings so much experience, but decency, humanity, cuts across all football divide, all sectarianism, or tribalism. He's held up in this country, rightly so, as one of the great ambassadors we've got, and we've seen that last week with the England debacle, haven't we? So for me, Marcus, by doing what he's done, has put it on the top of the agenda politically. He's become extremely powerful because the government will listen to him, because people listen to him, and he's highlighted what's happening in our communities, and we'll continue working with Marcus Rashford, with anybody that wants a campaign to eradicate food poverty, because we cannot, as a society that classes itself as a decent society, allow 10 million people to be in food poverty.
And how could people who are watching this, not even just within the UK but around the world, how could they help?
Just support Fans Supporting Foodbanks. Certainly from our elements, share our stuff on social media when we're putting stuff out, like it, and then when we put call-outs, respond to the call-outs, but also, more importantly, do something in your community. We're massive supporters of people who set up Fans Supporting Foodbanks initiatives in their community. We've had New York Reds and Blues come together and support soup kitchens. We've had people in Australia have charity matches. But the thing is, this isn't just Liverpool and Everton, this is many clubs now, Fans Supporting Foodbanks network. So my plea to everybody is just support what we're doing, support the right to food, do what you can do in your community to help out your fellow people who are struggling in the communities, and send a message that unity really is strength, and we need to be a working class collective to come together and assist people who are struggling. And Fans Supporting Foodbanks has got that ethos, and it's something we really believe in, and it's going to be needed now more than ever in the coming months.